fancy here. We're looking for anything that's durable. We're looking for anything that's waterproof, and I like to say very water resistant. I don't think I've ever found anything that's been waterproof. Somehow moisture seems to seep in. Of course, you're supposed to label the outside. I have the wrong label, but all right. I've seen these kind. I'm sure everybody here has. Whoever did that spray painted it. You don't have to be fancy with it. You can spray paint these things. Make sure you have a cover that snaps on. I have little covers that just settle on, but they won't do it. These work better. But anyway, in the computer, what we're looking at are micros, and I didn't bring my nano. I don't know why I missed that.
That's okay.
Yeah, that's about that. Oh well, that's the way it goes. And of course, the micros come into little sizes. There's a whole bunch of them in here. The bison tube, the little test tubes, and that one. What I found. First of all, I had to put my own O-rings on there because the ones they sent were kind of cheap. Got these little buggers. I've seen these in golf balls. They work pretty well. Of course, the good old bison tube. One thing I've noticed when anybody seems to put these back in, roll it up and make sure you put it in the tap first. Because usually they're too long, and I've seen them jammed up and messed up inside these things, and they're really trying to be unique. They last longer, makes it better for those who follow. Of course, you can buy all kinds of containers of it. Then we'll go to the lock and lock. This is just a peanut butter jar. There's some Gorilla Tape over the top of it. I have a problem with PVC pipe. You think since it holds water in, it should hold water out. Well, I've seen this kind, or a screw top on the top. Now, if you were to glue this plug in the back or put a pipe in it, there's nothing better for a seal. But this thing, and I just discovered why it doesn't work. You only can get about that far and it starts getting hard. You go harder, you could get into a situation where you're standing there and you need wrenches to get it apart. This thread is tapered, so it's a friction fit. So if you can't get this all the way down and get it to a rubber gasket, it's not going to work very well. It doesn't seal very well. I've seen water in these things, and even though the top has been on. Now, if you're going to go that route, go for one with a cap. Oh, what do I got in here? Another fish fun. This one, of course, is a cap. And this will stay on. Plus, if rain comes down on it, it's not going to seep into it. So, if you're going to use PVC pipe, think about that kind of thing. I'd avoid using these, because everyone I've seen has had an issue. Here's an example of what not to do. Glass. Don't use glass. You don't want to have it break. You want it to mess up your sight, have somebody get injured with broken glass at your hiding site. There's another little lock and lock. I got this one at the dollar store. Ingles has these. These are very nice. With a matchstick container, take the matches out. And you can get up to anything up to even the big bucket. I've seen, what is it, soap buckets that seal very well. They work very well. Probably, yeah. Anything that's, and there are some marine containers that I remember seeing about. Here's an example of really nice containers. These are preforms. Most of you have seen these. I've seen them in different sizes, and this also brings up another subject called throwdowns. Does anybody know what throwdowns are? Have you heard that?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Is it like an equal? Well, no, it's not a decoy.
You can't find it and see it throw one out.
Yeah. In fact, the cash owner did this. I've been looking after his because he's on a temporary sabbatical. And I read the logs and found out somebody couldn't find it. He couldn't find it, so he put another one. And I found this one, and I never found this one until somebody mentioned that there were two 10 feet apart. Unfortunately, that one had to be archived for other reasons. I have a little rubber ducky here. Detective Ducky, or ouch, because he's got that in here. I was thinking of something evil. You could hide this under a protected area where you can't see it and put the rubber ducky underneath. Send someone there, they'll pull this out. Red herring. Are they going to look under here for this? They may or may not. They don't see it. So I thought, put the cash in here. Then if you go looking all over the place, getting frustrated, no, it's still there. I recently saw, this is nothing on the zip tie. This was in recently found this one somewhere north of Weaverville. It said Scarlet. It turned out it was a black one painted red. And he said, use your first initial with a Sharpie. It took me a while to finally figure it out, and then I saw Scarlet. And that's your luck. You don't have to worry about it.
I think they call that Alabama style. When you just find something like on post and you just jot your initials on it.
Oh, okay.
I thought you couldn't do that anymore. I thought it had to be a container.
Oh, what?
I thought you couldn't do that anymore. I thought it had to be a container.
Depends on your reviewer.
Yeah. I'd put it out if I could
In
get away with it.
theory, yes, it has to be a container, but in reality, they're still around.
And if you word it just right, you may be able to get away with it. So who knows? I kind of like those things. Do label them.
Watch your step, we got a reviewer in the room.
Where? So I just thought this was kind of neat. It took me a while to find it, and we all know who did that one. Log sheets. If you want, I have a list of places for buying containers, getting containers. There's a whole bunch of them. There's also a couple websites where you can view evil and cute containers. Very interesting website. I wrote that one. And a bunch of, about 3 or 4 areas, websites where you can get log sheets themselves. And the throwdowns. This is also a throwdown. It turns out this really was the first cache that he set there. I think it's the same CO, cache owner. Nobody could find this one, so he put another one there, which is harder. And then I started hearing about, because I found the other one, and they said it was totally wet. You can still see the water in it. Well, it's because they put a hole through the top. And this was a complaint right from the very beginning. So I took this one and left the other one since signatures from 2009 are still dry.
Geo-motion side, huh?
Yeah, it's kind of
Like a terrarium.
yeah.
Is that a science experiment or something?
Yeah, it's beginning to look like that. I did dry out the logs, and I'll post those with it, but I've taken this one because it is a nice container, but you compromise the cap, you have to make sure it doesn't leak, and that's not the case here. So this is another cache owner throwdown. But I have seen one that really caused a problem. Hollinger's Cache. It's north of Marion, I think, north of Lenore, somewhere in that area. The guy set it out. It's on National Forest property. Of course, he has to have the chief forester's permission. The first people that went there did a throwdown. Did a plastic baggie, put his own thing in, put his signature on it. That forced the cache owner to have to go back, clean it up, because you're not allowed to have caches. And so he had to go back up and fix it. And the guy claimed an FTF. So, hey, if you want to do a throwdown and claim the FTF, go ahead. So if you can't find a geocache, then just log a DNF instead of a find and doing the throwdown. It also puts 2 containers in one spot, and you don't know which one. It may be important to the cache owner which one you find. But they're different enough in that this one is rather large, and the other one is, much, much smaller. about the size of this. Waterproofing, what comes up with this one? It's just a, if you put this in someplace, it's a magnetic. Make sure it's protected, because there's no way to keep your water out of rain out of this one, so you wouldn't throw this on the ground. I got a few examples of homemade ones in here. Items should be family friendly. Anything that is family friendly, but specific items excluded are explosives, fireworks, ammunition, lighters. I have found lighters, knives, including pocket knives, and multi-tools, and personally I don't have a problem with that. If you got your kids with you, you're going to be there, be able to watch them. Drugs, alcohol, I added tobacco products, and any illicit material that shouldn't be placed in a cache. So think about kids coming in and visiting your cache. You don't want them finding something that shouldn't be finding. So a lot of other things. Absolutely no scented items. You can smell it, so can the critters. You take a little spice bottle like this and it's not going to work because they'll smell it, they'll chew it up. I just saw a peanut butter jar about this size where a mouse went through the bottom. And I don't know why it was going after them, but it just chewed through it. No items that melt. Crayons, lip balm, chocolate comes under. Anyway, the scented items, no soaps, foods, candies, mints, gums, perfumes. Like I said, if you can smell it, so can critters. No glass. And if it looks like a pipe bomb in any way, if there's any doubt, make sure you got that label on the side. What I do if I find any of these kinds of items, I found matches and lighters, I just take them. I don't consider it part of the swag, rather than putting any kind of note and making the cache owner come up, because it's not necessarily the cache owner's fault. Just take it. And then make it safe for the next one, especially if there's a possibility of a family coming. Also, paper products will attract moisture. Doesn't matter how well those things seal. They seem to just suck in the old moisture, and if you get any mold, that's the first thing that turns moldy, and then it just spreads to the rest of it. This was mush, you should have seen the log when I pulled it out. I could barely get it apart. That is pretty much it. Y'all know the labels. Put bigger one if you're in a can like this. Although there are a lot of them out there that don't have any labels on them. That's okay. I've seen it written.
Just as a side note, everybody here knows it, but pet peeve of mine is if it's got a seal, you don't have to wrench that thing down. If you tighten, crank down on a bicycle, you just negated that seal. It's going to leak, and so if you don't tighten it down, maybe if you're lucky, which will never happen, the next person won't tighten it either.
Right.
But
It just has to be just slightly snug, and that's one of my peeves too. I see that, and
I've got a bag of O-rings that I bought from Harbor Freight. I carry with me everywhere. I replace them all the time. It's frustrating.
at Harbor Freight has them? Oh, good, because I've been looking
Harbor
for.
Freight is a geo-goodie store.
Oh, that's a good one to know. I'm glad to hear that. Cool.
The plumbing section.
7mm fits those bison tips.
What's that?
7mm O-rings fit those bison tips.
7mm. Oh, okay. I need to write that down.
Lewis Williams has them too. Lewis Williams has them too.